Hi, I'm Rick Kaler. Thanks for joining me. Last week's video focused on the challenge that financial advisors have in our current divided and chaotic political landscape in their effort to provide accurate economic information, even when it may not align with a client's political bias. So I thought this week we'd take a look at that same dilemma from the client's perspective. How can you be sure the information and recommendations your advisor offers you are not biased by their political views? Now, this isn't an abstract concern. Financial advisors and other professionals are potentially as vulnerable to bias as their clients. They basically have the same brain. Even somebody with strong professional credentials and skill can view financial systems and economic information through a highly partisan lens. And this can lead to skewed assumptions, recommendations that may have a very direct impact on their clients' finances. Markets and economies function on legal certainty, institutional integrity, which includes the independence of the central bank, which insulates monetary policy from short-term political moves and policy predictability. Each is now uncertain or under threat. One sign of eroding trust in the financial system is the fact that in 2025, the Economic Policy Uncertainty Index hit record levels. So in this environment, which weakens the foundation for reliable financial advice, it's more essential than ever for financial advisors to focus on economic reality. And this includes basing their recommendations on established economic principles, even when those principles are now politically inconvenient. If you want to confirm that this is what your advisor does, here's a few suggestions that I'd throw out. First, become willing to consider your own political biases, and this includes evaluating your sources of information. This is critical. I recommend getting news from several sources and prioritizing those with minimal bias. I would offer you to consider analysts like Michael Smerconish, who curate news across the spectrum. Several helpful tools for exposing bias are Media Bias Fact Check, Ad Fontes, and Ground News. Ask the advisor about their sources and processes. How do they verify information? What tools do they use to check bias? Professional advisors should have systematic approaches to information quality, and this would include a really clear, consistent method for separating spin from substance. Ask how they separate their personal preferences from the economic evidence, and listen for answers rooted in fundamentals, not in partisan talking points. So some red flags would include advisors who alter their analysis depending on who's in the office. Now that might be hard for you to know unless you know another client that is of a different political leaning than you are and get something totally different. Those that dismiss warnings from neutral institutions as partisan. Neutral institutions like the Fed, and you could have a political bias that says that institution isn't neutral. Those that promise investment results that are tied to elections. If they dismiss policy risks that contradict their personal views. They blame poor performance on political outcomes rather than taking responsibility for strategy. or they substitute political commentary for economic analysis. Now, maybe the biggest red flag is an advisor who's unwilling to have a conversation about political biases. Your financial well-being depends on what your advisor believes is real. If they substitute political expediency for professional clarity, it's you who carries the risk. Advisors have a fiduciary duty to protect their clients' interest. And in 2025, that includes stating facts plainly, even when they may cause conflict or offense. It includes maintaining ethical standards under pressure. It includes honesty about uncertainty, not false reassurance. Economic facts are more visible through a balanced lens. If you and your advisor hold contradictory political views, chances are that neither of your perspectives will be the right one. The facts and the truth about possible economic outcomes often lie somewhere in the middle. That neutral ground is the all-important space for you and your advisor to have your conversations. It's the place where an ethical advisor will tell you what you need to know, not what you or they want to believe. In times of economic uncertainty, professional guidance is essential, and only when that guidance remains grounded in facts. Your financial future depends on nothing less. Thanks for listening.